She always raised her hand. Every question, every single class, her hand went up first. Weeks later, it didn't. Nothing had happened to her voice. Nothing had happened to her mind. Something else had been done to her, and to 21 other children in a small room in Iowa. This is the monster study, one of the most disturbing experiments in the history of psychology, and almost nobody has heard of it.
The 1830s, nobody could answer a simple question. Why did children begin to stutter? Every expert had a different answer, and every one of them believed they were right. Doctors pointed to genetics, parents blamed nervous children, teachers blamed poor discipline at home. Wendell Johnson believed all of them were wrong. Johnson was a speech pathologist at the University of Iowa, and he had a reason to care more than most people in his field. He stuttered badly as a child, and he never forgot how it started. Not with a disorder, but with someone correcting him. Johnson believed something almost impossible to accept. A child wasn't born a stutterer. Adults made one. Not on purpose, just by reacting to ordinary childhood mistakes as if they were signs of something broken. If he was right, then every parent who corrected a stumbling child, every teacher who winced at a pause, every well-meaning speech therapist in the country might be accidentally creating the very disorder they were trying to prevent. There was only one way to know for certain, and Johnson decided he was going to find out. In 1939, he sent his graduate student, Mary Tudor, to the Iowa Soldiers' Orphanage Home. 22 children lived there, ages 5 to 15, with no parents to ask questions and no one checking on what happened inside that building. Most of the children spoke completely normally. A handful already had a mild stutter. Tudor split them into groups, and for the children who spoke fine, she began a routine that would run for months. Session after session, she sat across from them and told them they were showing early signs of a serious speech problem. Every hesitation became evidence. Every pause became a mistake. Every sentence became a test. Back in Iowa City, Johnson waited for her reports to arrive. Every few weeks, another envelope landed on his desk. Inside were notes on children who had started speaking less, children who now hesitated before answering the simplest questions, children who were beginning to believe something was wrong with them. One little girl who used to answer every question in class, who always had her hand up first, stopped raising it at all. A teacher noted it in passing, almost like an afterthought. She just stopped. A little boy started covering his mouth every time he spoke, as if he could hide the words before anyone heard them wrong. In the other group, the children who already stuttered were told the opposite, that they sounded fine, that there was nothing to worry about. Some of them actually improved. To Johnson, reading through the pages at his desk, it looked like exactly the proof he had been chasing for years. And then, nothing happened. No paper, no conference, no scientific debate. It was as if the experiment had never taken place at all. Why it was never published is still argued about today. Some historians believe Johnson understood exactly how the study would look if the public ever saw it, and buried it out of guilt. Others think it simply never met the standards required for publication, and disappeared the way most unremarkable research does. Nobody knows for certain which version is true. The paper yerk sat quietly in a university archive for over 60 years. Mary Tudor is said to have called it, long after the fact, the monster study. And once the records resurfaced, the name stuck. In 2001, a reporter from the San Jose Mercury News began tracking down the children from those case files, now in their 60s and 70s. One by one, doors opened on people who still remembered exactly what those sessions had felt like. They described a lifetime of speech anxiety, of avoiding conversation, of a fear that had followed them out of that orphanage and never fully let go. In 2003, The University of Iowa issued a formal public apology. The state of Iowa paid 6 of the survivors a combined settlement of $925,000, more than 60 years after Mary Tudor first walked into that room with her notebook. The monster study isn't remembered because it showed scientists could create a stutter. It's remembered because it revealed something even more unsettling. Nothing in their mouths had changed. Nothing in their brains had changed. Only what they believed about themselves had changed. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can give a child isn't a disease. It's an identity. The experiment ended in 1939. For some of those children, the silence didn't.